What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Time is Right podcast. My name is Scott Smith, and I am your host here on the Time is Ripe. This is a podcast of Ripe Creatives, which is a missions organization based in the city of Philadelphia that leverages the arts for the purpose of mission and community transformation. We have a lot of creative people that do amazing things, and we partner together with each other to throw events, but we also partner with others in our city and around our region to throw events together. And today is one of my favorite episodes of the year. This is year 2 of doing this. Season 1, we had an episode about this particular event, and we got a rerun here in season 2, talking about it again. In other words, we ran it back. Look at us running things back to back.
That's what we're going for. We want to get to a place where we get to do the events with people that we partner with over and over again.
Look at us, Jarrett. You already know who that is. That's Top Mop Productions, Jarrett Moses. Running it back, like being consistent, building relationship over the long term. That's our heart. That's our DNA. And it's really, really cool to talk about something. I'm alluding to something, but the date is September 1st. 2023. It was a Friday night in a faraway land called Germantown, which is in Philadelphia. I'm joking about it being far. It's like 5 minutes from here. But we did our year 2 of the Germantown Block Party.
With the dopest name, I must add.
We changed the name this year, which is the title of this episode.
Yes.
Back in Brickyard.
Hello.
Now, to talk about this whole thing, I have 2 amazing guests, and it's going to be a great conversation. One of them is a returner from the episode a year ago with the Germantown Block Party. The man behind it all runs Shores of Grace here in Philadelphia, amazing ministry that does amazing things down in Germantown. Luke Billman, welcome back to the pod.
Hey.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
You're adorable. Luke is one of my favorite people. He cracks me up. We met because of a crazy set of circumstances with him being on an airplane with my best friend TJ Brown coming back from Brazil or something.
Not even. TJ came down to visit his wife and their family, and they looked online for something they could go to worship-wise and ended up at Shores.
In Brazil,
at our mission base
So
for a
crazy.
worship night. And if I recall correctly, he had a shirt on that said Roxy or Roxborough or something like that. And I went up to him and in Portuguese, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, I speak English, dog. I'm from Philly, man. And it's so weird. Like, you'll see the losing World Series team shirts or like I love NYC or something in another country, but specific neighborhoods in Philadelphia, no,
Pretty
you
unique.
don't see that. And then when we moved back, we moved a mile and a half from TJ's house. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all connected through that.
Yeah,
So
TJ's literally my best friend, and Chris Cavalieri and a couple other people all connected with Luke, and then you got connected with my friend Joy and P. Psych,
Yep.
which is like family for me, and it's just like, oh my gosh, the overlapping relationships.
Very cool connection.
Everybody's like, dude, you got to meet Luke.
We did.
And then for years, we connected with Philly Project and all that kind of stuff. So
Well, it's funny when we met Peace and Joy, I was like, do you know 2 Nigerian girls that live in Germantown? And they were like, we are those 2 Nigerian girls.
that's amazing. Luke, there's a 4th voice on this podcast that hasn't been introduced. I'm going to let you introduce our 4th guest, our final guest.
Okay. All right. This is all audio, right? No video?
Yeah, all
right.
all
You
audio.
can't see it, but she's smoking hot. It's my wife.
All right, I don't think you need to say that.
I'm kidding.
Let's redo that.
You can cut that if you have to.
cut that.
Yeah.
We're leaving that joint in. This is funny.
It's my wife, Allison Billman, and it's not just me that runs Shores of Grace. Everything we do together is a team. So it's her and I are both directors of Shores of Grace here in Philadelphia. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
First
My
time.
very first podcast.
Really?
That I've been on.
You're amazing.
I listen to them, of course.
Okay.
But,
Well,
you know.
listen, you got a home here.
Thank you.
On the Time is Right. Yes, Luke and Allison have been such a godsend to us personally, but more so to the city, to the spiritual climate of our environment in which we find ourselves. They have such a heart for missional, incarnational ministry, right? Like just being on the block, loving people well, doing life with people, doing the long work, right, of evangelism. And we appreciate that a ton. You know, as artists and creatives, we're a lot of times doing the thing on stage to be a witness. But a part of what we've tried to build into our DNA within Ripe has been a culture of like, what does it look like off stage to be relationally invested and to move people towards connectivity locally to what's around them to be able to grow.
Yep.
And you guys have been like, it's like the same heart, you know what I mean? Because that's what you guys already live out. So when we thought about, man, how do we throw events to do outreach in the city? I told you this a year ago on the podcast. You spoiled us. Like that I don't know how many places we're going to do these things because I won't do them without a relationship like Luke and Allison.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't just want to throw a show for the sake of throwing a show.
Definitely.
I want to do it in a relationship that matters. And you guys have been that. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Let's get into this whole shenanigan. Let's just go back. Year one was amazing. We did a whole episode about it. If you want to hear about what predated us doing that, I mean, there's a whole story about Extreme Tour and a whole bunch of other things.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That episode exists. You can go back and listen to it. But coming out of year one, Jarrett, we'll start with you. Just like, how did you feel coming out of year one? Like when we're talking about doing year two, like where's your head going there?
We didn't even talk about year two until a couple months after. So in those couple months, it was just upgrading, evaluating like how we approached events overall. And I know like felt way better about going into it the second time around just because knew what to expect. We knew how everything was going to fit together. We had just more of the logistics figured out on both like a tech, the stage, like getting it like sturdier, even just a better soundboard than we had the year before. Like everything worked out better and felt better overall.
Yep. Yeah. Anything from you guys? I mean, you guys were obviously there year one, but coming in like in preparation, excitement, the ways that you were just thinking differently about the event itself before we get there.
I can say the one thing that stood out to me from year one leading up to September of this year was I remembered how badly my fingers hurt carrying that stage back in the basement after the show. So when you said, yeah, we can leave it up overnight, we'll get it the next day, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Or whatever. Did we leave it up? Did it get... Yeah.
We took it down.
No, that's right.
We took it down because
I was sick.
You were sick.
You were sick. We just got
remember
out of
that.
it.
You don't remember
put
that.
Leighton on it.
Leighton helped.
But no, I'm half kidding about that. But yeah, whenever we do something like if it's something that we're trying to revisit, or something that we're trying to keep as a recurring thing, whether it's monthly or annually or whatever, I tend to always look at things of like, what does it look like for this to expand? And we talked leading up to that of like, oh, maybe we can get the parking lot next door to shut down and put some vendors in there or something. You were talking to that, I forget his name, the skate park guy from Creation.
Carrie.
Yeah. Maybe we could have something like that. And we tried with some bouncy houses this year. Can't say I liked it that much. Kind of threw off the vibe to me a little bit, but the kids loved it.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was
You liked
great.
it? Okay.
I thought it was
great.
an awesome upgrade.
Okay.
I thought
I
it was
really
huge.
did.
All right. See, this is
Like,
how the kingdom works. Like
I definitely felt like it felt more like family oriented. Like actually just all ages. Like
Yeah.
any person of any age could come in there and they could find something that like connected to them.
Yeah. That was cool.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about trying to upgrade stuff. There were some things that we like tried and struck out on.
Yeah.
It still was a lot of stuff that wasn't there the year before. The
Right.
popcorn
Oh, yeah.
machine,
Yeah.
cotton candy,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of the drinks and food vendors.
Yep.
And then the bouncy houses, obviously, but the biggest one was probably the book pack, book
the
bag,
backpack
Oh, the
backpack
giveaway.
drive
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Like
that
that.
was really nice. Yeah.
that the church did itself, and that was huge. Like giving away backpacks. Why can't I think book bags, backpacks? Which one is
I don't know.
backpacks?
JanSport.
The same thing.
Why am I
bags.
confused right
I
now?
don't know. We know what
Those
you mean.
things that you take to school with you
Yeah.
as a child, right? They
Whatever
gave
they're
away a
called.
bunch, like
Yeah.
dozens of those
Yeah.
Yeah.
to kids in the neighborhood.
Yep.
So there was a ton of
Yeah.
like upgrades.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
So meeting so many different needs, not just like spiritual needs, but like physical needs of people like that are hungry or that actually need school supplies and whatever. It's good.
Yeah, but I think all of it kind of addresses this spiritual need. Like people that are living in a place where you can't afford to buy a book pack for your kid, having the church give you a book pack is something that ignites something in your heart to see God loves me.
Yeah.
The body of Christ loves me. That it kind of I think the event does a really good job of painting this like holistic picture of the kingdom that isn't just like here's a couple songs and then there's an altar call. We're doing the routine of what everybody does or whatever. We want to address as much as we can while we're releasing a sound that we believe can change the environment where we're at. And I think there's a lot of power behind that we live in the yard where we threw this concert. So firsthand, the sounds that we hear on a regular basis are gunshots, sirens, screaming, yelling, drunk people running around out front, car accidents, people being mad, anger in the air and frustration and contempt and stuff like that. And even when there's just like a 2, 3, 4 hour break of we're going to release something else into the air here, whether we get to see like the direct fruit of that in that moment or not, something is out there that's changing the environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like God kind of plants a seed in that there's something in the actual environment of the city where we're at that kind of shifts people's perspectives on things and does something holy in the middle of stuff that the city normally looks at as this is the part that we just don't really address. We don't really help this section. You know?
Yeah, this is the neighborhood that we don't.
Yeah, this
pay
is the
attention
neighborhood
to,
that we
yeah.
overlook. And
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah, sorry if I rambled there.
No,
you can
you-
chop that up. However
Listen,
need to.
you are
Okay.
Ramble
your
on.
rambling is like philosophical depth, you know.
Okay. All right. Good.
Like,
I'll
it's
keep
beautiful.
rambling.
And I love the way your brain works. You know? So thank you. No, it's so good, man. It's been a match made in heaven for us.
Yeah.
And like I said, my only frustration is you might have spoiled us because it's like not very many people operate the way that you guys do
Yeah.
and get us so deeply that there's no like making an explanation with y'all because it's just like kinsman
Yeah. Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you want to reach people, you want to do it to honor the Lord, you want to contextualize
Yeah.
what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
who you guys are and how you live, versus other places and other groups and other things where
Yeah.
you feel like you're banging your head against the wall to try
Yes.
to get them to even see
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Yes.
the proper lens
Yeah.
for the context. So
Yeah.
it's just been really like a wonderful relationship with you guys. And
We feel the same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it was almost like a sigh of relief when there was just a moment when I don't know if I heard you say something or like there was just like a movement of all of the artists and everyone working at Ripe just like knew to go out and talk to people. Like there wasn't even like a, hey, don't forget we need to talk to people. Like
Yeah.
there's just like that's just the culture and we just like I remember I could breathe. Well, Luke was sick and I was like running around like crazy and it was just so nice to have people know that that's what we're there for. Like it's about relationship, like the music is amazing. The spoken word's awesome, but having people people come off the stage and then want to talk to them.
Yes.
Like there's something really
Yeah.
special in that. Like I keep hearing the word worthy, like we're showing people in our neighborhood that they're worthy of this. They're worthy of our time and our energy and the money spent and the time, all of that stuff. But seeing people just like wanting to spend time talking with these people who often are overlooked and ignored, like that just is, I just think it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just love that we both just know to do that. Like both of our our
Yeah.
ministries. You know,
I do remember being struck by that. Like I was sick the day of the event. And I would I'd wander out with a mask on and like do a lap or two until I was like, oh my God, I need to lay down for a little bit. But every time that I would come off, like it wasn't like all the artists are hanging in this corner and all the people attending are over here watching it. The artists are out and about talking to any random person that's coming through, and I'm just like, yes, that's so good. Like it connects the heart of the gospel, connects the heart of that transformative sound to the person.
right?
Even if it's not like, oh, let me talk to you about what that lyric means or something, but just, I want to connect with you. I meant what I said from the microphone.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be involved in community for the short time that we're here.
Yeah.
Like, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful picture of what the kingdom looks like.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, it's so good. I mean, that is, I will say, like, it's not always natural, but it is something we teach, right? It's something that we actively like push for and drive because, and it's not a testament to like they lack compassion. It's more just introverted.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Some artists are like, I just want to be over here.
No,
in the
I get
corner,
it.
right?
I get that. Yeah.
But what we've kind of tried to say is like, okay, what we're not going to do is create these bubbles like for our team over here. Like, let's not do green room stuff.
Green room. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like conferences have green rooms.
So you don't have any artists that
wonderful.
demand like all the red M&Ms get picked out of the bowl.
Just brown M&Ms only, right? No artificial colors. No, we've tried to establish a culture where that's not us, right?
Yeah.
That like we want anybody who's ever booked us for anything, regardless of the scale of it, for them to be like, man, they were committed to the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they were out with the kids here, there, like whatever it is that we're going to, that's what we want our resume to be.
Oh yeah.
Is like, oh yeah, there might have been some artists that had better hits on Spotify and Apple Music or whatever, but nobody loved these people better than them.
Right. Absolutely.
We want that to be our DNA. And that's kind of been our heart with Family Night, right? To create a night once a week, once every other week, or once a month, like once or twice a month typically, probably be about once a month next year, but like once a month we gather and we just connect. Yeah. We're not out at a gig. And then our heart is like, connect now so that we're not using the gig to build our friendships.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Like build your friendships here.
Right.
So that whenever we're at the gig, we're linked arm to arm, but we're facing outward.
Yeah. That's nice.
Right. We're not
I like
looking at
that.
each other.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's kind of the heart of like Family Night, is to make it so that we don't feel like we're losing connectivity with one another and we're just constantly doing ministry together. We still have a relational capital and a trust because of time we spent in our Family Night environment. So
That's really good.
yeah, we've
that.
been fighting for this and contending for
We get it. Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think they did a better job of it this year than last.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like to see that growth, because we didn't see it as much in 2022.
Yeah.
And we're like, this has to be the only thing that matters tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you talk to people.
Well, it was
Who cares
very
what you
evident.
said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was evident. Yeah.
You know?
We definitely felt that. It was really good.
And Luke was sick as a dog. Shout out for powering through as best you could. I mean, you were so sick.
I
too.
was.
It was crazy.
The best
I would lay on
timing
the
ever.
couch and be like, why? Why?
Why now?
Today of all days.
Yeah.
I know.
I think there was one point you come up to me and you like, I don't even remember what you said. I was like, what'd you say? You're like, yeah. And then walked away. I was like,
Hallucinating. It's fine.
Like, just let him go sleep.
Great
Well,
timing.
and like my personality is I love to serve. So if I'm looking out the window, even if I'm throwing up in the kitchen sink and I see you struggling with something on the stage, I'm like, I should go help him. You know, like
Luke, you should
puke
go
on the
lay
sound
down.
guy right before the event. That's going to be great. You know?
Spread those germs. Let's see how it goes.
It was great, and I think it's like if you'd gotten sick a year ago, we probably would have been really stressful.
Oh, yeah.
I think so too.
But I think because like we had done it once before,
Yeah,
I
people
know
knew
for
what
us,
was-
like we didn't think any, like we were like, oh, we're sad for Luke,
Yeah.
but there wasn't an ounce of like concern on our end.
yeah,
of,
like, oh no, how are we going to
what
make
is
this happen?
this event
Yeah,
going to look like now?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
think that there's just that
And
trust.
shout out to our
Yeah.
teenagers for
Yeah,
really
your guys'
helping.
kids helped out a lot.
They really
It
did.
was a lot of.
They've
yeah.
always been like very involved in our ministry, and we're really thankful for that. And like, it's not like we're like, you must help out at all times, but they really do. Like, they love it. And
Yeah.
Leighton really just thrived.
Like Leighton
this
came
year
in
it.
that
Yeah.
night and was like, "That was awesome," and we were like, "Did
was
you like the
literally-
event?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I mean, setting up all the stuff and helping." And I was like, "Oh, really? Do
That
you
was
want me to see if that's something you can help with?" He was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, please." Like that was
Oh,
super
it was
cool.
great.
Shout out to Leighton. Leighton is amazing.
He's a good kid. It was a lot of fun, like having him around, getting to like explain just the basics of it to him,
Yeah.
and like I couldn't tell if it was like sinking in or just bouncing off, but
Yeah.
like it stuck with him, and I
It did.
loved that. And
Yeah.
like,
It's hard to tell with any 14-year-old
Yeah.
in general
Yeah.
what's sticking and what's not.
that's probably it.
So we were just as surprised. You don't have to add that.
No, that's good. Shout out to
We
Leighton,
loved it.
man.
We loved it. And honestly, like, what teenager doesn't like young adults to like connect with? You
Yeah.
know, your parents
Yeah.
get old. We're old folks now.
Yeah, and I mean, he did so well, like, and enjoyed it so much
Yeah.
that it became a connection point for even Worship Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you asked, like, hey, is there anything else he can help with? Scott's like, this is all you, bro. I'm like, yes, I know
Oh,
exactly
good.
where I'm putting him on this
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
He came out, helped at Worship Fest. He was like the hand for stage 2. He was helping
Yep.
out my buddy Gabe all day, and no one had anything but positive things to
Oh,
say
I
about him
love
because
that.
how helpful he was.
Mad props for Leighton. Yeah. I like
Shout
that.
out to Leighton.
Yep.
Let's get into the actual event a little bit. I know, Luke, your ability
memory's
to talk
limited.
about it is
Do
going
my
to be limited because you were so out of it. But I will just say one of the really interesting things, we had every intention of running back almost the entire lineup, and that did not happen at all. And I'm so grateful that it worked out that way.
Yes.
Like we asked, because everybody last year we had a ton of artists on it, and everybody was great. And so we had every intention of like anybody who was on it last year, we'd love to have back. And just conflicts came up for so many different people.
Because if you had asked any of them the week after it last year, they would have been like, yes, I'll be there immediately. Loved the event. Like, it was a great time connecting with everyone. And then as soon as the calls and texts start happening about this year,
Yeah, the date just
Conflict.
did not work out. I mean, it was, I think, Memorial Day.
Labor Day.
weekend.
Labor Day?
Labor Day
Labor
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend. So that was a little bit of, but still, like, I think it was a perfect time to do it. The year before was at the end of July. We did this at the beginning of
okay.
September.
Yeah.
Now, why that helped is because we got a later, more time under the lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because it wasn't as
Right.
bright. It was a little bit shorter of a day in September. A little bit cooler of an evening than
Yeah,
the
it
middle of
wasn't too
July,
bad. Yep.
right? We also had like rain and stuff in 2022. We didn't have any
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot
inclement
about
weather
that.
this
Yeah.
time. So it, like, but some people that we would have loved to have on this year couldn't make it, and a bunch of ringers showed up. And so I just want to shout out the lineup. Leah Wren was a returner, came
one
back.
of the few, yes.
She opened up. Then we had Q Flow, first time he was filling in for ARAM or Abel, one of those two. Like couldn't have been on it, so we got Q Flow, who really loved it. And he's like a rapper's rapper. He's like so gritty, Philly. I'm from Philly, you know. Like that's literally one of his songs.
That's what's needed.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
what we need.
So
yeah.
he killed it. Loved having Q Flow there. Eves, I think this is her first time doing the Germantown show because I don't think she was really a ripe
wasn't-
artist yet.
She wasn't a
A
ripe
year
artist
ago.
yet, but like she came around and was hanging out. I remember her being there the year
Yeah,
before.
but she didn't perform.
Right.
But she performed on this one. Shout out to Eves because when you talk about that investment in the people, like Eves just
That was her.
she's the best. Like
awesome,
at just
yeah.
at building relationship, connecting with people. Like I saw an entire family like adopting her. Like little girls were putting stickers on her
Oh,
face.
my
You know what I mean? Like it was just
goodness.
like
Yeah.
Eves in this family.
It
Oh,
just
hanging
I
out.
works.
think I did
I think she
see
walked
that.
into
Didn't they
the
have
car.
like the lady had like 4 kids with her or something
Yes.
in the
Yeah,
wagon?
they
Yeah, I
went on
did
the
see him. I
backpacks
did
and
see
stuff.
that
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
I think she walked him to the car.
Yeah.
Like whenever they
Oh,
were
I
time
love
for them to
that.
leave to get home to go to bed, like she walked them out, and it was just like, man, Eves really lives into that culture a ton. Another returner was AVG.
yes.
So after AVG, and AVG did spoken word stuff again. A year ago, we talked a lot about AVG set at the Germantown Block Party because of the significance that it had with Serena.
Yeah.
But having AVG back, was a blast. And he's just such a good spoken word artist. Like he's the poet's poet for a reason. After AVG, we had Rashid, new artist on this one. So already 3-2, 2 returners, 3 new just at this point. Rashid St. Fleur did a singer-songwriter set. And after AVG, like, could you pick a better like transition there where that middle of that day is like deep, thoughtful, thought-provoking, moving like music, you know? Like such a good feel. After Rashid, we had Demir. Shout out to Demir. He was going to be on later in the night, but we had like a late arrival on another front, so we moved Demir up.
Issues.
And Demir always kills it. I don't know if you remember Demir. Demir's just like the high energy guy.
Okay.
That's floating around the stage.
He was on the year before, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a returner.
He brought Jason with him again this year for playing some drums for his track, which again always brings up the energy a little bit, which matches Demir.
Having live music behind you, I think, is always better when you can do it,
cool,
right?
yeah.
It's a cost. It's a practical thing.
It's just not always logistically possible. Sometimes you just can't get a kit there.
Yep. So we worked that out, and Demir did great. And then we had Wildfire for the first time.
Yes.
On the Germantown show. So another new person to this opportunity, and they absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
Doing their singer-songwriter stuff. Esteban plays guitar and Priscilla plays viola. And so it was a lot of like hip-hop to singer-songwriter to poet, like kind of like a roller coaster.
the variety. And
it's never like dull. And it never gets redundant because you're constantly changing the vibe.
Yeah.
And then Sergine kind of came up and preached the gospel through her spoken word poetry.
Yeah.
She's so stinking
She was
talented.
amazing. Yeah.
And then we closed out the night with the Dreamer, new person.
Yes.
And Doc Hero, returner. They did a co-joint kind of set together.
Yeah.
And the energy went
wild.
to 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's the,
really good way
the
to end
lineup.
it,
I would love for you guys, just anybody that like stuck out to you from the whole day. I mean, everybody did great, but were there any moments throughout the day or people on the lineup that you connected with that just kind of
I remember it's really hard for me to connect names and who was performing, but the woman who was performing spoken word towards the end, Sergine. I can't even remember the words that she said, but I remember it was like I connected, like my heart connected to everything that she was saying for the community itself. Like there was just such a rawness.
Wait, was that the one where at some point something happened and she was like, "Hold on, let me start again"?
Yeah, she had to start it a couple times.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
But I really like that one too.
There was just a rawness in it, which just when you have to be raw, you absolutely have to be vulnerable, and just there is no other way to be real, like to be connected with the people. And what we love about ministering in the city, ministering to people who are living in poverty, is the rawness. And you don't get that outside of the city, at least in our experience. But we love people who can come up to us and say, "This is what I'm going through. These are the horrible things that are happening in my life." And not that she was saying those things like specifically, but there was a rawness, there was a openness, vulnerability in her words that I just remember. Just it's giving me chills now, just remembering. That's how you connect to the heart of people, by being open, about your own struggles, about the things that you're struggling with. Because that's how people are coming up to us every day. Yeah. And this is my heart. That's like you wouldn't believe the amount of personal information that people come up to us with. Sometimes it's way too much. And you're like, did you really just say that? But you have to be. And so, there's a way to be raw and really connect with people. And that's Jesus right there. It really is just the openness and being there with the people and spilling your heart out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just kind of, nobody can see my hand movements, but I was just kind of like, I'd come out for like 5-10 minutes, walk around, go in and sit down, come back out when I felt a little better. So I don't remember anybody. I don't remember like any specific, artist up there, but I remember the vibe in the yard.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing more people than last year coming up to have conversations like that of like,
Yeah.
this place is safe. I
Yeah.
can talk to people about, whatever is going on. And I think like, so often like people say, you got to get yourself together, man. Like get it together. You need to get your stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
The more put together we are, the more we think we need to look put together to the rest of the people. Because we did that thing we were told to do and put ourselves together, and now we have to look like this pretty buttoned up thing that knows how to make everything right. In the hood, when you can create this environment, when you can release a sound that puts something out there that says it's safe for you to be real here, the realness that you get is really real.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes more real than you want it to be.
Yep.
But I think like everybody with Ripe, all of the artists, everything that was coming out from the stage, whether it was singer-songwriter, spoken word, hip-hop, or whatever, it created this atmosphere for people to feel like we're safe to be able to release this stuff. Like, even if it's just, I need to get this out. I don't know what to do about it. I know you don't know what to do about it, but I need to get this out. It's kind of like that. To the Greek, to a Roman, to the Roman, the Roman, to the Jew, to the Philadelphian, the Philadelphian.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be a Philadelphian to a Philadelphian means you don't really pretty it up when you're talking about stuff. It's very much
That's true.
as gritty is for the Flyers, like, and it's in that grit that you can have this ministry in a place where, like, if these holy chords are coming off this stage, like into the environment where all these people are, the grit does something where it opens up for healing to come, for wholeness to come, for freedom to come, for redemption to come, for restoration to come, for all that stuff to happen. It's not like the sick guy that can only make it out for 5 minutes at a shot is doing anything special to create this. It was all you guys. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was you, Big Al. You can cut that.
No.
I just wanted to say it once in the
my
mic while he was
gosh.
recording, but
Nicknames.
no, but just the heart in all of the artists at Ripe, your heart, Scott, your heart, Jarrett, of just that. It creates something where it's different than just, oh, you had some mainline event where they've done the same thing for the past 20 years over and over again. You know what to expect. Those things are cool too. That's great. But it's cool when you can create an environment like that where people can come, have a good time, and hang out, but at the same time are in a spot where it's possible for you to be healed and touched on a deeper level while you're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a special thing. I mean, I think I got to see an idea, a concept in motion whenever I went on tour a couple of years ago, which we talked about last year. And I was just like, man, this is as a vision to go out and reach people right where they are. Music is such a hook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
It's a net. It's a gathering tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the end all
Yeah.
be all. Like, isn't just the performance, but it can be such a part of what God is going to use to create other moments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And both in the physical, like you said, meeting some physical, tangible needs, but those physical tangibles have something to do with the spiritual need as well, right?
Definitely.
But it's like, it's kind of a cool triangle
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, gospel, truth, art, and physical needs stuff
Yeah.
colliding on Germantown Avenue
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Brickyard
Yeah.
for a night,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how does God gonna use this? And it's crazy because it's not a big scale event.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very intimate,
Right.
right? Like it's a lot of people, but even though there's might not be a ton of people there because the sound system and like those big boy QSCs that we borrowed from Change and stuff, like it does ring out
Yeah. Yeah.
over the neighborhood in a way that gunshots ring out over the neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have Rashid's voice
Yeah. Exactly.
singing a song about healing.
Yep.
Healer, help me, please.
Yeah.
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 Ah, man.
I know.
And just think of the acoustics of how it's positioned. You have this huge stone building behind you, a row of stone row homes here, and another row here that
Yeah,
it
and
just
it's
kind of
just-
creates this amplifier of,
Natural
you know?
amplification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a cool spot.
Yeah, it's-
yeah.
I feel bad for whoever's on the other side of the Family Dollar, but
Right, yeah, they're getting
Well,
blasted.
actually, that's where every 4th of July they have a big fireworks show.
We call it the Germantown firework extravaganza.
And so we usually sit like right out just on the sidewalk, and we don't have to go anywhere. It's just all right there. So we're just like sharing our contribution to the community. They share theirs every 4th of July, and here comes ours in a different sense. But
that's awesome.
It's so good.
The firework thing is a little more in the gray area of whether it was okay
not
to do or not.
exactly legal, but we enjoy it.
It's in Philly, man. There's fireworks every night out here.
That's right.
There's fireworks in December in Philly for no reason.
No reason at all.
Am Day, we got to get the fireworks.
Eagles win on a random Sunday.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes here, and I have 8 names of people that we hit up that couldn't come. That led to the lineup that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting how every single one of those people were like a perfect fit.
I know.
And some of them weren't intended to be there from the initial list of trying to run it back with a lot of people. And I said this on another episode. I've said this probably on 10 of these episodes, but how somebody's no leads to somebody else's yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see that in action in a space like that, because I guarantee if we had any of these artists on this episode, they would be sharing about what it meant to them to be there, even if that wasn't the intention. And you didn't mean to be sick.
Yeah, no.
Right? That wasn't the intention,
Right.
but it happened. God is just sovereign over that stuff.
Totally.
And it was just a really, really good night. Shout out to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing their thing. I loved having Drew there, in particular, the Dreamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been a Philly music artist. He moved down to Delaware recently, but he still goes to church in Philly, or at least he was at the time of this event. And just a guy who has cared about the city of Philadelphia forever.
Yeah.
And written music and performed for news stations and performed it big opportunities at studios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But getting him out of this big kind of opportunity thing and into the neighborhood of Brickyard and put him on stage,
that's awesome.
The Dreamer just looks like he's famous. He just does. He's got that look. He's this guy's a celebrity.
Yeah.
But it's he's just as he belongs here in this environment. People of stature and gifting and quality and excellence.
Yeah.
Let's not bypass this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's kind of like the artists that go perform at prisons and stuff, right?
I know.
If you're good enough for that music hall, you're good enough for
it's
the prison,
it's like the NFL players who come back to their neighborhoods for the holidays and hand out gifts,
the kids with stuff. Yeah.
But it's there's just I'm not from Philly, but what I know about Philly is that Philadelphians want, how can I say this? Unless you're from Philly, you're not going to get any cred, necessarily. It's more, once people know, let me say it this way. Once people know you're from Philly, there's going to be a whole new level of respect.
Yep.
And for people who what's his name? Dreamer?
Yep.
If you look like a star, they see you on stage and then they see you come out into the audience and just talk one-on-one with other people. That has so much meaning to people. It really does. You might not have ever seen them before. The people in our neighborhood might not have ever heard of them before. But just that vision of you were on stage performing something I could never imagine doing, something that our neighbors could never imagine doing. And then just coming down and just having a conversation with somebody else is just, it's really important for people to see that they are worth that.
I feel like there was someone last year too that I want to say she was in Florida or something, that she was from Philly, but she flew up on purpose.
Namara,
yeah.
She was there again. She was attending this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she
really
had just gotten married.
Oh.
And she's on this list of the outs.
Of the nose that's opened the door. Yeah.
She was one of our first asks.
Yeah.
But she was getting married, and I was like, yeah, you should not do this.
You may cut this, but funny story with that is the guy that she got married to, I'm a friend of his from college, but literally the year before was where they reconnected and started talking again.
Really?
And then
At the last
At our event?
at Germantown last
Oh
year.
my
That's what they told me.
gosh! Look at that.
Look at God.
and they got married since then.
They got married like right before Brickyard.
Oh my
Like
gosh!
a couple days
We
before.
didn't get a wedding invite. They met each other in our yard. What the heck?
No, they didn't
Come
meet.
on,
They
girl.
knew each other. They
No.
knew each other before, but they
They
rekindled.
rekindled.
Oh, that's really
Rekindled
cool.
the flame back in Brickyard.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
No,
I
it's-
love that.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
God is so sovereign over that stuff, man.
Absolutely.
It's a good reminder, that he's always working behind the scenes.
Yep.
I know.
And I felt like, yeah, like it's a big ask to ask artists, hey, will you come in for very little resource and serve?
Yeah.
I know.
But I think what was cool for me was like having this list of 8 no's that I'm reading right now, and we still had a full lineup, and we probably had people that we could have had on this lineup that aren't even on it.
Yeah.
In addition, and I'm like, oh, there's actually like a roster out here that like if we find places like Shores of Grace to partner with, to throw shows in neighborhoods, to reach people in Philadelphia, there's going to be people who are going to say yes to those opportunities to step up and minister
Yeah.
through the arts.
I love that.
And that's like, I mean, that's maybe more than anything else I do. Like creatives events, these bookings and performing myself and, everything else that we do, like all the conferences and the festivals, right? Like cool. But my heartbeat,
Yeah.
like if I could do anything all the time,
Yeah.
I think it would be this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like
love
creating
that. Yeah.
a Philly-based neighborhood to neighborhood kind of tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would be so stinking beautiful.
I mean, speaking into what you guys talked about last year and still believing that it can and will happen, you were saying that you have a map of all the Philly neighborhoods and you could hit one Philly neighborhood every weekend and still have extra neighborhoods to go through.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like mid-50s,
It's
right?
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Your team might want to die at the end of that year, but
Right. Facts.
We quit.
Facts.
We'll combine
Too
a
much
couple.
Philly. Too much Philly.
And I mean, like, just to call a spade, right? The only thing standing in the way of that is resource,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's like a thing where you can't move ahead of the Lord because you don't want to burn people out. If you're moving ahead, you're going to end up burning people
Yeah.
out. But it's like we would need a van
Yep.
that we
I
own,
know,
not a
right.
U-Haul that we rent every time.
Yes.
Because we're doing that right now, and that can add up like pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
Or we need a place to store the stage
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
currently stored somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And like all those types of things, like to make it here's how we get in, set up, do the show, and tear down and get the stuff back to the location. Like to have a system in place, you need the resources to have that infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now we just don't have it. And that's okay. But that's like the big thing,
That's what makes these events so much more special for us to do.
Yeah.
That's why we love them so much.
Yep. Yeah, because we want to do more of them. It's just
Right.
a matter of kind of that difference there. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for partnering with us on
Of
it.
course. Thank
I
you. We
wanna
couldn't
give-
do it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we,
it's never felt like I got a book Scott.
No.
It's like you ever see the camera shot of in the 2017 Super Bowl. Nick Foles walks up to Doug Peterson and he just goes, "You want to do Philly Philly?" And Peterson's like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." That's how this has always felt to me. That I'm like, "Yeah, this would be dope," and you're like, "Yeah, that would be dope. Should we do it? Yeah, let's do it."
yeah, see what happens. See what happens.
Yeah,
Let's try it.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole start of this was you said, dude, can't you just do this?
yeah,
Like, you don't, why can't we do this ourselves?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I was like, well, I don't have the equipment. And then Namar,
Yeah.
yep,
We got the
Yeah.
equipment.
yep,
Namar showed up
yep.
God's good
and
like
said,
that.
hey,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like
And
I'm
his
supposed to
goodness
give
and
you.
providing those resources when we need them
I
is
know.
just awesome, man.
I
you
know. I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of this whole story, right? Going back to last year's episode about this, we did the tour that I was on at Shores, and it was kind of a thing where you just said to me like, let's just do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Philly,
yeah, yep,
You want to throw it?
yeah,
Like, let's do it. And I kind of said, like, I don't have the equipment to do it. Like, theoretically, yes, but we don't have the stuff. And then Namara showed up with this crazy donation of gear, which, we've added on to, or we've gotten other stuff since then, or connections to relationship to borrow some
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, we have everything that we need to do it. And I think that's kind of where we're at, right? It's like a desire for more to do more, but a contentment with what you have to do what you have.
That's right.
Yeah,
To
definitely.
do with what you have, right? So it's like that
Yeah.
secret of contentment.
Yeah.
Having vision
Yeah.
and contentment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Having
like that.
faith and contentment.
Yep.
I want more, I want more, I want more. But if it's just this, we're good.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And
That's
so I
right.
think even as we dream about the future of this thing,
Yeah.
Luke is a dreamer, right? So he's like, we're going to shut down the block. You know?
Major
Shut down
thoroughfare that's
Germantown
never been
Ave.
shut down before.
He said, Germantown Avenue will be shut down for the back in Brickyard. And it might take a while to get there, right? But,
Right.
but I think the fact that like you're dreaming about a second stage behind the building and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like will those things happen in 2024 or 2025? Who knows?
Yeah.
But always taking a step forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think from year 1 to year 2 on this end, it was a massive step
It really
forward.
was.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like the bouncy houses weren't the right fit, like I thought they were great.
Yeah.
I
Still
thought the
tried 'em.
kids
Maybe
really loved
maybe it was like because my stomach was feeling a certain way that just looking at him, I'm like, whoa.
the big red thing. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't like that. But the kids like loved it. They were playing.
Yeah.
They were having fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think I remember saying a lot over and over again in the evening was no kid's going to just sit there and listen to music. Like what
Right.
child in the history of the world has ever just sat there and listened to music?
Ada Joanne,
Okay.
your daughter,
Well-
at a Korn and Slipknot concert.
Yeah, she did fall asleep at Korn
Backstage,
once.
fell asleep
on
right
stage.
next to the speaker for the whole set.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
that
yeah,
might be the
you can cut
exception.
that.
One exception.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
Allison, get him.
not normal. Not normal. But what kid is going to just sit for a 4-hour
Right.
concert? That
They
doesn't
might
happen.
give you
It-
15 minutes.
But they're still hearing it. They're
Yeah.
still hearing it.
Yep.
They're still in
Something's
this environment of this is different than our normal Germantown. I am not afraid right now to be walking down the street. My mom's okay with me being at they just call it the church because they know this is a safe place, you know? And I think we just like upped it even more having that there.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, it was like, and
Cotton candy machine.
yeah.
Fire. 'Cause
Yeah.
Kids love that.
Yeah. And what else? We had
Straight
snow
sugar.
cones, I think, too. And
Yeah.
then we had, you know, our own snack table too. And people just know that we always have food for them. I think some of them were upset we didn't have a whole meal that night. But
Yeah, well, one of the cool things, the Bounty House company went like we paid them to be there. We hired them to come and bring all this stuff. And as they're leaving, they're like, "How can we support the ministry?" And started Venmoing money before they got home.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's so cool, man. That you're
Wow.
yeah.
you're hired for a task. Like you don't know any of the other people that here. You're not from our section of town. Like
Yeah.
you know whatever. And it's like there's fruit in this. I want to sow into it.
Yep.
You know.
Man, that's so cool.
And even just
So we're reaching people we didn't even mean to reach.
Yeah, that's something we heard last year and this year from people coming in. It's just, this is so good. Nobody does this here. You know what I mean? It's not like you guys have something to offer that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, but you're offering something in places that other people don't offer it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And particularly when you're serving a demographic that doesn't have the option to drive to Hershey for a concert or, you know, whatever, like go way out, that it's just, I'm going to walk up the street, something's happening.
Yeah.
Or you're walking by and something just draws you in
Yeah.
because of it.
Hmm.
That we hear that over and over again from people. This is so good. This is so good. Why doesn't the church do more of this? You know?
Yeah.
And
Oh, you're convicting the heck out of me right now.
you know,
because I'm thinking about so many other places, not even just in urban, difficult environments, but even like small town USA.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
totally.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff that's in the works in our community. You know, I'll be more general, but just in the future of like tours and things,
Yeah.
right? Of like going into places that don't usually have the thing that we're going to do
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
to inspire and try to like drop a seed that hopefully will become a tree that
Yeah. That's
puts
right.
some fruit with more
Yep.
seeds in
That's
it, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of idea, because you're right. It's so compelling whenever somebody shows up to do something that isn't normally done in that environment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can actually be pretty terrible and it still goes well.
Yeah.
I
You
know.
know, hopefully we're not. You know, we try to be very excellent with what we do, but you know, because there's nothing else that like that there,
Yeah.
Right.
it is like, wow, who are these people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've said it to the artists because I think artists like think through how do I build a fan base digitally?
Yeah.
And I've just kind of said over and over, like, who gives a rip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Outside of obviously getting to, 10 million streams a year is going to get you $20 to $30,000, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's very few artists that get to those numbers.
Yeah.
But more important than those things is always going to be who's the person you've impacted.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
who's fan to follower to friend.
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
where do you get to friend?
Yeah.
Because that's where there's actual real intimacy, where you learn something
Yep.
from them and you're giving them
Yeah.
something back.
Yeah.
That's really cool because we feel that way about our ministry too. Like, in a way, I mean, we don't have fans, but like people who've come to our meals and then in that have learned that they too can serve,
Yeah.
and through that they become a friend. There's that same process with what we're doing. Like, we're just being real with people. Like, we're just there, like on the
so good.
ground,
Yeah.
with them. And that is our goal, is for them to become a friend, have a relationship, and we've seen that happen and love that both of us have seen that,
Yeah. And that's for the book, the Luke and Allison Billman book.
Oh, we got a book.
Yeah, you guys
You
have.
should.
You should
We
have
we actually do have a book.
We do?
the Bible.
No.
Oh,
You
No,
don't-
there is
you
actually
don't need
an-
to put this in
a
there,
book.
but for our anniversary one year, I had a book made for her that was like
it's like a little cartoon book, L&A,
loveonline.com
like our love
or
story.
something like that.
It's very cute.
Yeah, it's just a cartoon book.
It's
of,
cute. Anyway.
Yeah. But we do. It's called L&A.
Yeah.
And, you can pick it up at Barnes & Noble.
No, you can't.
You can order it on my site. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Well, there should be a book at some point about
Yeah.
your lifeblood and your legacy of doing ministry the right way. And it's not to say that anybody else's way
Right.
is wrong.
Exactly.
It's just,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just for this area, for this neighborhood, for this place, for this time. God has sent a perfect couple to.
You're like the
to
third
walk it out.
person in the past month that said, "When are you going to write a book to me?" So I'm
Really?
starting to.
And every
Pay
day
more
I get a
attention to
reminder
that.
that you're supposed to be writing. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, now I'm feeling convicted.
Yeah, now you
Yeah.
feel
This is
convicted.
going to be fun.
That's good.
we gotta go home and write real quick.
I'm joking.
We love you guys.
Love you
Seriously,
too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you to all the artists that came
Yes.
and performed. Thank you, Jarrett, for
Yes,
setting up all the
Jarrett.
sound. Top My Productions. Book this man.
Book Ripe.
Yeah.
Just make sure you include me.
You can book Ripe. Just include Top Up in the line items, please. No, I wouldn't do this. I mean, that's the crazy thing is Jarrett. The relationship with Jarrett has meant everything to me because I might, have whatever skills and gifts that I have, but I can't do anything that he does.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, as much as I might have relationships with artists, if you don't have a sound system, you don't have a show.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't have
yeah.
a stage set up, you don't have a show.
Yep.
And so it's kind of been a thing where, we've worked well together. And I think by God's grace, there's been benefits networking wise for you to get other opportunities for real paying gigs by serving with us,
helps.
which is good.
It goes both ways because I always feel convicted because I'm like, oh, I'm not ministering enough to people. But doing stuff like this, I don't always get to directly connect to someone, but I'm giving everyone the means to connect to more people.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You are, man. You're playing
Part
a
of
role
the
in the kingdom,
body.
part of
Yeah.
the body.
Yeah.
Elbows and knees and wrists and
It's all
hands.
needed.
We
Yeah.
all need it, man. We all got a part to play. So thank you guys for being a part of the Big C Church of Philly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
love y'all. We look forward to the future
Yeah.
of
too.
back
Us
in
too.
Brickyard.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
do it.
Back in Brickyard, just
Part
keep
3.
adding backs.
Back again.
Should be happening sometime in 2024.
Absolutely.
Love y'all. If you are here and you partner with us, we just want to say thank you for partnering with us. Part of an extension of that is us being able to do stuff like this with Shores of Grace. And so when you partner with us, you're blessing other ministries in ways, whether you realize it or not. That's something that we've said since day one, that we believe our success is inherently connected and tethered to the success of our partners. And so we view our success that way, not just ours, but the people we're connected to. So thank you for partnering with us so we can partner with others. And if you're here and you don't currently partner with us, we'd highly encourage you to jump on our website, ripecreatives.com, click the give button, consider being a part of this with us. Every resource goes a long way in helping us grow.
Yeah.
You know, we have visions, we have ideas for days, but we're obviously walking in step with how the Lord provides for us to be able to get there. So consider partnering with us. That would mean a lot to us. Reach out to us if you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to talk to you about it. And thank you guys. Any final thoughts? Jarrett, Luke, Allison?
I was just really quickly going to say, like, partnering with organizations, with ministries like Ripe, you're serving the unreached by partnering with somebody, with a ministry like Ripe. It's impossible to do. Luke and I cannot do it on our own. Shores of Grace cannot do it on our own. But together we can make these things happen. And I love that we can serve a neighborhood that often gets overlooked. I wish they weren't, but I feel so honored and blessed to be able to partner with Ripe.
Yeah.
And just to make these things possible. We obviously would never be seen on a stage performing music, but through Ripe, and just you guys are so dedicated, and just you're bringing Jesus to our neighborhood, and we just love that.
Yeah.
Anything from your end, Jarrett?
Nah, it was just a great event. It was a lot of fun to serve that community.
Amen. Hey, stay tuned for more episodes here on The Time is Ripe. It's been a blast. We love y'all. As always, stay ripe.
Hello, place.